Welcome back to Real America. My next guest has become a regular and a friend of our show, Oliver North, joining us now to discuss all this chaos and try and figure out what's going on. Ollie, how are you, sir?
I'm well. You know, for a Marine, this is nothing. There's nobody shooting at you. Right? No casualties inside the wire. We're okay.
Well, let's talk about that because I had that in my notes here to discuss with you, the unrest that we saw break out last night in D.C. We'll get to the election stuff in a minute because I think we all have election fatigue. I know I do. And we may not know again another night, depending on what these states do. So let's first talk about what we saw last night and what we know by looking online has been planned by the radical left, and that is chaos. I posted a video, it got flagged, taken down, which showed actual Skype, or I think they were Zoom meetings with Antifa, BLM, some old, I don't know what you want to call them, Ollie, liberal hippies from the 60s, 70s that used to protest that are now in their 70s, 80s, giving advice to these young ones on how to take D.C. over this week. And they were talking about the 4th, 5th, 6th doing all this anarchy stuff across the country, but mainly in D.C. It's now flagged. You've seen your fair share of aggression over your years. How do we stop these crazies?
Let me give a baseline of where I'm coming from. And I was out in Florida the night before the election, so I did my part, right? Florida came around the right way in all of this. Here's the 5 things that are important to me, my parents, my children, and my grandchildren. I got 18 grandchildren. So there's 5 things that I look for in a presidential candidate in a campaign like this. Number 1, the sanctity of human life. It's number 1 in my book. It ought to be number 1 in everybody's book, but the sanctity of human life. Number 2, the Bill of Rights. I took an oath every year to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. All 10 of those Bill of Rights are the freedoms that we enjoy that we need to protect. Okay. Number 3, protect America. And that means our armed forces, our borders, and our law enforcement to protect us from criminal elements. You need all of that. But that's protection for the American people. Number 4, the dignity of work. One of the great things that Donald Trump did was deliver jobs and opportunity to everybody that wanted a job. It was unheard of. It's never happened before. And the dignity of work is important to the future of this country. And finally, number 5, the idea of equal opportunity, not equal outcomes, which of course is what the other side is advertising. So I look at those as the most important things when I'm talking to the brand new voters who are my grandkids, right? We got 2 of them that just voted for the very first time in their lives. And I said to them beforehand, that's what's important. Now, what's going to be the outcome? The Constitution is very clear about how we carry out elections. The idea that that the president shouldn't protest, that he shouldn't ask for a recount in places like Wisconsin is lunacy. That's the far left advertising. They want it no matter what. It may turn out that Biden is president. I don't know. The good news is, 1, I know where I'm going and why I'm going there. It has nothing to do with all the medals on my chest. It has to do with my spiritual relationship with my Lord and Savior. Number 2, my grandkids have that as well. I don't want their freedom to carry those things out taken away from by the government of the United States or by the Commonwealth of Virginia or by Clark County, Virginia, where we live. The bottom line of where we are is it could well turn out we don't get the outcome I wanted or that you wanted or that many of us wanted, and perhaps even a majority of American voters. Maybe it turns out the wrong way. But the bottom line of it is this is still going to be a great country. It looks like the Republicans are going to continue to control the Senate. We've got a Supreme Court that's conservative enough that it can withstand a lot of the crises that we're probably going to start seeing maybe as early as this week, and whether they demand recounts or not. So I'm confident about the future, not so much as I was before this election, disappointed with it, but I'm not going to give up.
No, I agree with you, Ali, and I like what you said there early on about, I think it was your 5th thing that is a priority for you, and I always say that is that government should be set up, equality for all, to give us a hand up, equal playing field, not a hand out. And that seems to be the new left-wing movement is let us take care of you. That's not the American way. Never has been. It's you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you get her done yourself. And if you can't get it done, well, tough. That's life. And that's America.
And we all ought to have an equal opportunity to do that.
Exactly. I'm really, really worried, not only for the future of the country if it goes Biden's way. And again, we're not there yet. There is still a pathway to victory for President Trump, big time in several of these states, and we'll get to that. But I'm worried what's going to happen just the next few days. Again, like I was saying early on here, I've seen videos, these chat rooms where they've all congregated talking about unrest, no matter who wins. They plan on chaos because let's be real, that extreme left didn't want a Joe Biden. They obviously didn't want a President Trump.
I'll tell you, you let me get away with this every time we come on, and this time I got it last.
It's fine, do it.
Last time, after I flipped it upside down the wrong way when I picked it up, I got emails from thousands of folks who were watching us do that and said, "Are you getting like Biden?"
Ollie's sharp as a tack, folks. Do not compare him to Sleepy Joe. How dare you? I mean, you just nailed the 5 principles you stand by, like boom, boom, boom. He can't even remember the last 5 words he said that came out of his mouth. I mean, even that speech last night, you saw him fumble.
Oh, yeah. And he'll continue to do it right until the vice president takes over as president of the United States.
Thank you. That was going to be my next comment.
What you just mentioned, however, is the disinformation that's being spread all over the country. That's in this book. The president, over the course of the next 77 days, I think it is, needs to make sure that everybody gets out there and does what needs to be done in the soft power side of things, as well as we need to look after the armed forces, because China is going to take advantage of us every second they can.
That's the thing to me is, you know, if, God forbid, we have a President Joe Biden by the end of the week, tonight, tomorrow, whenever they finish the counting, and we know for a fact that the contents of the laptop are real, they've been certified, witnesses have backed them up, that this man who has taken millions from the CEFC, the natural gas and oil company that's pretty much run and owned by the state of China, it's a state-run company, they will own his butt. And so how do we finish the brokering of the trade deal that President Trump was doing, which you only got phase 1 signed, what, in January, right before COVID hit? Coincidence. Is he going to push through phase 2 and 3 so we have better trade deals? I highly doubt it. Why would he?
Well, hopefully the Senate is going to stay in our hands and won't be able to change. Remember, treaties have to be approved in the United States Senate. And so hopefully you're not going to end up with a total backtrack on things like, you know, the agreement that we've got with Canada and Mexico now. I mean, the arrangements that have been made with Israel, part of protecting America, all of that kind of stuff, they can't backtrack on as easily because we're going to control the Senate.
Yeah, I think it looks like right now, because just a little bit ago, we know that Susan Collins is holding hers in Maine. That Democrat candidate, the name escapes me, who cares, they lost. That person conceded. It's still up for grabs in Michigan with another great veteran there, John James. I hope he can pull that one out. And then we're going to have that runoff race down in Georgia because there was the 3 running there. But either way, Republicans have the Senate. It might be a 1 loss or a still 4 majority, so we've got it. So you're right. We have the safeguard now of the Senate still and the Supreme Court. But again, I'm going to go back to the numbers and where I've got it now, because there's no way we're going to look at Wisconsin as a total win, because there is going to be a recount when you've only got about an 18,998 vote spread. You need a recount in Wisconsin. So right now as we stand, we're 237 to 213. The president pulls out Arizona, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona, which I think he will, and I called it last night when no one else would. That's his pathway to 270. He's got this, and you can give Michigan and a couple other ones to Biden, and the president still wins.
Lord willing.
Yeah, yes, Lord willing. Ollie, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. We truly, truly appreciate your insight. I know this is not the next day that you and I were hoping for when we talked last week, and I said, please come on the next day so we can talk about the election. But it is not over. Not over by any stretch of the means.
Press on. Semper Fi, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Ollie. Really appreciate it, man. You stay safe. Coming up, anyone surprised that President Trump was censored last night on election night on social media? But was Biden censored? Don't think so. Coming up next, DC Drano, our buddy, joining us to weigh in on how Trump and conservatives continue to be treated by big tech and the social media, even when a victory is hanging in the balance. They continue. Don't go away.